Hello everyone, this is the finale of What If Naruto Was Adopted by Kakashi, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Land of Wind. Two figures were making their way through the hot desert, both wearing large brim hats to help keep the sun off them. It had been a long trip and not an easy one, as crossing a desert was a grueling and dangerous experience if you weren't prepared. Hot. 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 Naruto kept muttering as he walked with Jiraiya. It's a desert, of course it's hot, Jiraiya spoke up, getting a little annoyed. He never liked the desert, and listening to him go on about how hot it was kept him from trying to take his mind off the heat. Well, how much longer? Naruto asked, wiping the sweat from his brow. You can see those mountains in front of us? He asked his student. Yeah. Well, that's sooner, and that's where we're going. Naruto looked at it. It was still a bit far, but at least it was within sight. So why are we here? You need work on your wind jutsu skills, and Suna is one of the best places to find someone who could teach you a few things. Jiraiya also didn't say that Suna was a fortress as well. They could safely be here for a while, leaving them plenty of training time, and also he could get some work done. Naruto thought about it. He never could get the wind armor working properly, plus he could learn something really cool. He thought about it, and if he remembered, Gaara's big sister had wind jutsu skills. I think there might be someone I can ask for help, or at least she can point us in the direction of someone that can. Jiraiya figured since Naruto had done well with a sword teacher and had survived the training, then maybe he would give Naruto a chance with this. It was still an hour before they found themselves at the entrance to Suna. The giant split in the rock walls were huge, and they could see many sand ninja guarding the entrance. Jiraiya knew that although there was a renewed peace agreement, there would still be some hurt feelings on both sides. When people fought, people died, and it was the living that had the resentment in their hearts towards those that caused the loss of someone important in their lives. One of the ninja called for them to halt. As they did, one of the ninja came out of the shadow towards them. State your business, he told them. Jiraiya stepped forward and pulled off the hat, and even pulled out a leaf forehead protector. He kept it on him even though he never wore the thing anymore, simply because sometimes you just needed something to identify which village you belonged to. Plus, not everyone knew him on sight. Konoha Leaf Ninja Jiraiya and his student, he proclaimed, and seeing the man flinch, he knew that his name and reputation preceded him. Oh, of course, sir. He looked over his shoulder and made a hand signal to stand down. I still need to ask your business, even though we are allies. Of course, we're here to see. He paused to look at Naruto. We came to see Gaara. Naruto offered. That got an even bigger reaction from the man. Why, you actually wanted to see him? Naruto didn't like the way the guy said it, but remembered that Gaara hadn't been the most stable of people. He kind of hoped the guy was doing better. He seemed to be doing better the last time they talked, so who knew? Well, you heard the kid, Jiraiya said to the man with a smile. The kid's a friend, so we were in the area and he just wanted to see him. Friends? The man asked, not sure he heard him right. Yep. Naruto said simply, at least he got that impression from Gaara the last time they talked. The man looked confused as he excused himself, so Naruto and Jiraiya were left to wait. At least they were allowed to wait in the shade of the mountain path. It felt good to get out of that hot sun after walking in it for so long. After some time he came back and told them to follow him as he led them through the path. Naruto had never seen Suna before, so he wasn't sure what to expect, but his eyes widened as he saw that the entire village was surrounded by the mountains. It was like someone had hollowed out mountain. The entire village was built in these round-shaped buildings. Naruto looked around, taking it all in. He didn't have much time to look around as a few familiar faces came walking up to them. Up in front was Gaara with his siblings behind him, and their Jonin instructor as well. Hey Gaara. Naruto waved to him, and he actually saw Gaara seemed to relax a little. He didn't smile, but he did seem a bit more open, was the best Naruto could describe it. It's good to see you, Gaara said, almost unsure of the actual correct response it seemed. His siblings shared a look between them. Slowly they had been noticing little changes in Gaara since they left Konoha, but this was the first time their little brother actually said something like that to anyone. He did greet them both now, but he never said that it was good to see you. Usually it was just a simple hello with him. Yeah, same here. Naruto grinned at him. Baki, the team's sensei, cleared his throat as he looked to Jiraiya. Although we do accept our allies here, I am left wondering, what is it that brought you here? I'm taking Naruto here training and I need someone to help him with his wind chakra. Jiraiya explained. He said that there was someone here that might help with that. Who would that be? We do have plenty of wind users here after all. Baki looked to the boy. Well, I was hoping she could help. Naruto pointed to Temari as everyone looked to her. Wait, me. Temari blinked a few times. Why on earth was he picking her? Then it hit her. Is this because I'm the only person you know here that can use wind chakra? Naruto tried not to show on his face that was the reason, but he was never really good at hiding his emotions. He fidgeted a little on the spot as he noticed everyone looking at him very closely. Well, I also know that you're really good and I figured you would help. Temari raised an eyebrow as she crossed her arms. And why would you think that? He tried to think of something. Because we're allies and you'd want to help promote ties with Konoha. Temari thought about that, but she needed a bit more. Because I'm asking you to, Gaara suddenly said, surprising everyone. Temari looked at her little brother as she had to pause at that. Gaara never asked anything from anyone as far as she could remember, and he didn't ask in a threatening manner. Like, do this or die, like he used to. This was an honest request from him. Temari sighed as she couldn't really refuse that. Gaara had been making small steps toward being more social, and if she just denied his first request of her, she knew it might set him back a little. Plus, she was his sister and she couldn't really go against family. Fine, but what about our missions? Temari looked to Baki. We can't just hang out for however long this will take. She's right, Kankuro nodded. Our village lost a lot of people and we all have to pull it together to help keep up the image of our strength. Of one of the other villages might start to think that the sand could be taken down. They make good points. Baki spoke up, thinking about it. Well, would 1 month be okay? Jiraiya asked. Maybe less if he really needs it. I can help out in the area for a short time and it's not like we can spend too much time in one place anyway. Baki thought about it. At the moment they didn't have any missions and they could have Jiraiya replace Temari for a short time. Hell, the kinds of mission he could pull off would be a very big help to the sand, not to mention it would also help improve their alliance again. If he brought this up to the council, he was sure they would take it. They weren't exactly desperate for help, but any help would be needed. I think we can work something out. Baki nodded. Konoha. Sitting at a cafe was Anko with both Shizune and Kurenai. The two of them started to bring Shizune into their little group slowly when she first arrived, and now she was hanging out with the two friends. They liked her. She was a little quiet, but she was fun. Plus, Anko found out that when you get a few drinks into Shizune, she started to loosen up a bit for some fun. But now she wasn't enjoying herself. In fact, for the past couple of months she had been deep in thought. Anko. Kurenai shouted, bringing the purple-haired woman out of her thoughts. What? She asked. You've been lost in thought a lot lately and I've been trying to get your attention. Kurenai looked at Anko with some concern. Is there something bothering you? Shizune asked next. Anko sighed. She hadn't told him anything yet on Kakashi's offer for her to move in with him. She had been thinking about it all this time. He hadn't asked her about it since, hadn't pressured her. He was giving her plenty of room and time to come to a decision, and part of her kind of wished he would push so it would at least give her a direction to either go with or against. She felt like she was cast adrift, unsure of where to go. Okay, look, here's the thing. Kakashi asked me to move in with him. Anko sighed, just getting it out there, hoping it might help to unload on them. Shizune's mouth dropped open as Kurenai's eyes widened. Seriously? Kurenai asked, seeing Anko nod. Well, that was bold of him, so what are you thinking? Honestly, I'm just not sure. The purple-haired ninja frowned. I like my independence, my own space, so if I move into his place I would lose all that. Both of the other women took a look at each other before Kurenai spoke up first. Well, I take it you're still thinking about it though. Anko grunted and slouched in her chair. She was still thinking about it because honestly a part of her liked the idea. She pretty much had a lot of her stuff over at his place, not to mention he had some of his stuff at hers. They were pretty much almost living together already most of the time. It was just hard for someone as independent as her to think of giving it up. Shizune cleared her throat, looking a little nervous. I know I don't know you as much as Kurenai does, but I think you just have to think what would make you happier. That's what I'm trying to figure out, Anko sighed. Well, if I have to say, I would like to have something that you have, Shizune sighed, looking down at her tea. Being on the road all this time with Tsunade has been great for a lot of experiences, but it didn't really leave much in the way of getting to know anyone that well. We were always moving, never staying in the same town all that long. Ever since we've returned home, this is the longest we've ever stayed in one place. I actually feel envious that both of you have such good relationships. Kurenai felt for the other woman. It wouldn't have been easy being on the road all these years. She had Asuma and Anko had Kakashi, but so far Shizune hadn't been able to find anyone lately. In fact, looking back at the few times they all went out together, Shizune seemed a bit uncomfortable at times in social circles. Anko mulled it over. It hadn't been that long ago when she was considering ending things when Kakashi might have died because she was too scared of feeling the pain of losing someone close to her. So was this just her going through it again? Maybe so, but it wasn't easy for her to accept change. Hell, she hated change sometimes. I just get why things got to change, she sighed, voicing her thoughts to them, slumping forward. I like how things are, they are going good, so why does he feel the need to change it? Maybe he just wants to make you a bigger part of his life. Shizune asked with a shrug. Anko thought that over that was kind of a nice sentiment. I think it's nice, Kurenai told her friend. But if you're not ready for it, then just tell him that. But are you sure you want your relationship to just stand still? Anko made a face. Well, maybe not forever. Man, this sucks. I have no idea what to do with this. Hell, this is my first damn relationship. I don't know what the rules are. We've been barely seeing each other for a year now. Don't you normally wait longer for that? I have no idea, Shizune shrugged. I'm with her, Asuma, and well, that's the first really major relationship I've had in my life. Although I know that if he asked me right now, I might actually say yes to it. Kurenai paused, thinking it over as she felt a nice warm feeling inside of her at the thought of it. Truth was, she was starting to think that Asuma was the one for her. She couldn't see her life with anyone else at the moment, and she didn't want to. Great, so that's 2-1, Anko muttered as she really thought about it. If I do this, it's going to change everything. We'll have to move my stuff to his place, and we'll have to figure out what goes where and what stays and what we might have to get rid of. And I'm telling you right now, I am not getting rid of that tea table of mine. That thing is rare and I love it like it was my child. Both women giggled at her antics as Kurenai thought of something that might help. You know, you could think of this as something else. Like what? Well, you keep thinking of it as his place, but have you ever thought about it being your place, as in the place for the both of you? Anko blinked as she thought about it. She had only been thinking of it as his place and her losing her place, but she never once thought of it as their place. Strangely, that kind of appealed to her sense of independence a bit more. Huh. You know, I think you might have given me something to think about. Anko would have to lay some ground rules if she did agree to this with Kakashi, but she was strangely starting to warm up to it a bit more. Sooner. Naruto rolled out of the way as a razor-sharp wind as it nearly cut him. Hey, that was too close. Naruto yelled out at the blonde-haired girl. They were currently in a wide-open training area which was more like a sandpit with high walls inside of the village. Its motivation to keep you moving. A wind user is generally quick and their attacks can be quicker. You never know how they might attack. Temari told him her fan was only showing the single mark as she wasn't using the full power, at least not yet. You seem to be quicker, but you need to learn to be more agile as well, she continued. Wind chakra is hard to use, but once you learn it, it's very deadly. Yeah, no kidding, he muttered to himself. He was glad for all that training at the beach earlier. Not to mention those sword lessons as well. Both were being put to good use against Temari since he might have been seriously hurt otherwise. Why was it that it seemed all his teachers lately were trying to kill him? So how exactly is this going to help me? Naruto asked her. You have to understand how it's used, so I'm going to show you firsthand. Plus I need to see how you use it yourself in combat conditions to know how well you can use it under pressure. Temari explained. Now I want you to try and hit me with a wind-based attack while I attack you. Alright. Naruto got his sword ready as he gathered the chakra into it and sent out his wind slash right at her. Although what he expected her to do was to get out of the way, when she didn't, that's when he started to get worried. Temari swung her fan as her own wind attack collided with Naruto's as there was a large gush of wind like a mini windstorm for a brief moment. Sand blew all over the place as Naruto had to cover his eyes. When it all died down and he took a look, there was a circular pattern between them. That was your best? Temari asked, a little disappointed. Hey, I don't go a lot of people who can train me in that, plus it's kind of hard for me. Naruto had been told that wind techniques required a lot of finesse, and that was something he always struggled with. All his chakra was hard to mold just right. Temari tapped her foot as she thought about it. This was going to require some intense training to get his control up before they could start looking into new techniques. Alright, well, if we're going to do this, you're going to have to train pretty hard, that is if you can handle it. Do your worst, Naruto challenged. She only grinned like a predator at that. She was going to make him regret those words. It was late afternoon before the two of them got back to Temari's home where they were all staying. Or in Naruto's case, he was dragging himself there. His clothing was all messy and cut up in some areas, and if you looked close enough, even some of his hair had been cut off. The home was a bit larger than the others, given that their father had been the leader of the village for many years. Temari wasn't worried about losing the place with their father gone. They more than made up for upkeep of the home with the money from their missions, given that Gaara was sent out to a lot of dangerous missions. As Temari walked through the front door, she could see the living room was already occupied by Jiraiya and Baki. How did it go with the council? Temari asked the adults. They agreed to the deal, Baki told her. We were just going through the finer points together. So where's my student? Jiraiya asked, curious as to where Naruto was. He saw Temari smirk as she just stepped aside to allow Naruto to drag himself into the house. The old ninja had to stifle a laugh at how ragged Naruto looked. Although that didn't stop him from having the largest grin on his face. Naruto noticed it and glared at the man. What? Jiraiya thought back to Naruto's little prank with that Haku kid. Just enjoying karma in action. Naruto grumbled something under his breath as Temari led him to a guest room he would be sharing with Jiraiya. I didn't think you guys would have a guest room. Naruto spoke out loud before he could stop himself. It wasn't originally. Temari told him, not telling him that this was their uncle's room when he lived with them originally. That is, until he had tried to murder Gaara. The room after that was left unused unless Baki was staying over with them some nights. Still, they hadn't really done anything with the room other than throw out some of the more personal stuff. Gaara pretty much stayed away from the room for obvious memories it most likely brought back. Man, I feel like I could sleep for a week. Naruto walked into the decent room and flopped onto the large bed. Well, don't fall asleep because we're going to eat in an hour and I'm not waking you up for that. She crossed her arms. Plus, we'll have an early day tomorrow. Naruto moaned into the pillow as he pushed his tired and aching body up. Might as well shower then. Forgot where you were? Temari asked him as she saw his questioning look and smirked as she told him to follow her. She led him to the bathroom, and when it opened, Naruto paused at it. There was the toilet and a small sink, but there was no bathtub or shower. Instead, there was this little raised square with a drain and a single faucet. Naruto wasn't sure what to make of this and looked to the older girl next to him. I don't get it, he told her. We live in the desert, remember? Water is kind of a rare thing around here. Even though we're built on top of a natural spring under us, we conserve as much water as possible. She explained, pulling a small bucket out of a cabinet and a washcloth. You put the water in this bucket and use this to wash yourself down, giving yourself a sponge bath. What? Really? He looked at the items and then at the faucet. How come there isn't two knobs? You mean hot and cold? She asked as he saw him nod. No hot water. What? Again? We're in the desert, Temari said flatly. You spend all day in the heat and you want to put hot water on yourself on top of it. Oh. Okay, that makes sense. Naruto thought about it. Sure, hot water would feel great on his aching muscles, but he had been baking in the sun all day and cool water would feel nice. I'll leave you to it. Temari handed him the items, walking out, but stopped. Just so you know, I lock the door when I'm in here. I wouldn't peek, I already got a girlfriend. Naruto told her. Good to know, she told him, closing the door, leaving Naruto alone. He looked down at the bucket and clothing and sighed as he started to strip down. He might as well get this over with. Konoha. Anko set down the box as she stretched out her back. You know, you never know just how much crap you acquire in life until you actually start to pack it all up. Well, you didn't have to say. Yes, you know, Kakashi said, wrapping up another box in Anko's apartment. Hey, you offered and you might as well help me with all of this since this is going to your place. She told him as they had just starting packing things up at her apartment. She had taken some time to think about it and had finally made a decision to move in with him. So what are you going to do with the furniture? He asked her. She looked around. I think my couch would look better at your place. I have a couch. Mine's better, plus it goes well with your place better than yours. Kakashi blinked and looked at her couch. Really? Trust me. You're not trying to start systematically replacing all my stuff with yours, are you? No, just the couch. For now at least. She thought about it. If this is going to be our place, I want at least some of my stuff there. The rest we can get rid of, maybe give it away or something. Kakashi thought about it and it did make sense that she would want some of her stuff at his place. He had some room but not everything could stay. As long as we talk about it together, what stays and what goes. Of course. She picked up a box and set it down to a pile off to the side. Kakashi worked for a bit before stopping. I thought you liked my couch. It's okay, but it's got that stupid depression in it, hurts my lower back if I'm lying on it for a while. Plus the color really doesn't go with your living room. She explained. Kakashi had to admit that one of the cushion was a bit bad, but he wasn't sure on the color part. At least he thought it looked good, but then again he would admit style wasn't his best talent in life. Still, it looked like he was headed for a small battle on how their place was going to look from now on. He mentally shrugged. It was a battle he would enjoy since it meant she would always be there at least. 2 years had passed and the world had changed a bit in that time. The villages of the Leaf and Sand Ninjas had slowly been repairing their fractured truce. It was a long road, and although some wounds were harder to heal than others, it was recovering. The villages themselves were also recovering. In that time they had shown the world that they were not weak and doing everything they could to prevent any of the other larger nations thinking they could be beaten in another war. Not far from the village, 2 individuals were walking the lone path to the village. Come on, hurry up. Naruto told Jiraiya as the young man was very impatient to get home after all this time. Hold on, the village isn't going anywhere. Jiraiya told him as he walked as fast as his body could at his age. I haven't been home in over 2 years. Naruto exclaimed. I can see the mountain and the walls from here. And a little more time shouldn't hurt. Jiraiya told him calmly. Naruto pouted as he ran a hand over his exposed face. His mask was no longer on and he didn't like it. You still haven't let me replace my mask. You were looking for the exact same one that got ripped up, he pointed out to him. Because I really liked it. Well, where did you get it? Anko gave it to me, Naruto told him. Well, then ask her where she got it when you see her then, he sighed, seeing the longing in the young man's face as he looked to the large walls ahead of them. Well, they were close enough to the village that if anyone was after them they wouldn't try anything this close at least. He figured he might as well let the kid loose and enjoy himself. Fine then, go on ahead. Naruto grinned happily, thanks. He ran off as fast as he could. Finally, after all this time, he would see everyone again, his friends, his family, and especially Hinata. In the Leaf Village, the next generation was making progress on establishing themselves. In the years since the failed Suna Sound invasion, the younger generation had done well. At this moment, 2 such individuals were walking the streets together. They were Sakura Haruno and Sasuke Uchiha. I can't believe we got sent on that mission. Sasuke grumbled. Oh stop, we were the only ones available and there wasn't anything higher that was free. Sakura told him, seeing him grunt. He always got like this when he felt their skills weren't being used to the fullest. She would have told him that he was pouting, but he always said that he didn't pout, so she just shook her head. Don't worry, something will come up, she assured him. They walked in silence for a bit before Sakura looked around. Do you know when he's supposed to be back? No idea. Sasuke didn't have to ask, they both knew who they were talking about. It should have been last week. You don't think they ran into some trouble, do you? She asked. It's Naruto, trouble follows him or he runs right into it. Sasuke said in a deadpan voice. Sakura sighed, yeah, you're right about that. Still, I can't help but look forward to him coming back. A lot has changed. Sasuke gave a slightly amused grunt. There was a lot of stuff that Naruto had missed in the time he was gone. The village had nearly fully recovered and all of the friends that Naruto knew had improved since his time away. Plus there were the little things here and there as well. He felt Sakura's hand slip into his own, something that in the past he wouldn't have cared for. But like she had just said, a lot of things had changed that Naruto missed out on. As they were walking through the village, those that were generally on gate duty were sitting at their post just passing the time. It was a bit of a dull day, not many were coming for trading and there were not many guests that were supposed to show up for the day. So there they were a little bored as the two tunins were just making small talk. I'm telling you that girl over in research is into me. The first one says. The other man just rolled his eyes. Please, you know she's seeing a tunin over in the scouting unit. This from the guy who doesn't have the guts to ask Shizune out. Hey, I thought we agreed not to bring that up. Not my fault you get talkative when you get drunken. The hell. The man blinked as he saw a young blonde man rush through the gate. He was about to jump out from behind his desk but noticed the Konoha headband making him pause. He didn't remember anyone that young that left. Hey, who was that? The guy asked as he pulled open the logbook trying to find who it could have been. It wasn't that much longer when another person walked through the gate. This was an older man than the young in a mostly red attire with long white spiky hair. It was a man that needed no introduction as he was well known among the ninja of the village. He just walked in like he owned the place with his hands in his pockets without a care in the world. Was that? Yep, I think it was. The other said. Huh. Well, looks like things will get lively again. So that was Hitaki's kid just now. Kid grew up. I remember him when he didn't come up to my shoulders. Although didn't he used to wear a mask the entire time. Naruto ran through the village feeling so happy to finally be back home. Running through the streets brought back all kinds of memories, from his dad taking him to places as a kid or him with his friends. He smiled at the welcomed memories. Just being back here felt so right to him. He saw old familiar places and even a few new ones. He couldn't wait to see how everything had changed in the time he was gone. He jumped up onto a building and looked around, spreading his arms wide. Finally, I'm back. Naruto shouted out, opening his arms wide. Hey, what are you doing up there? A voice from below shouted at him. Naruto looked down and a huge grin appeared on his face as he jumped down to land before the two people. He stood up as he looked at the two people in front of them. They had changed but he knew them all too well. Sakura-chan, Sasuke. Naruto greeted them. And Naruto, is that you? Sakura looked at him. She hadn't realized it was him without the mask on his face. His clothing was a bit different and he was actually taller now. Looking closely, he was actually taller than her now. About time you got back, Sasuke smirked, although he was glad to see him too even if he didn't really show it. Yeah, I know, but I just got back. Naruto scratched the back of his head with a huge smile on his face. Everyone is going to be so excited to see that you're back. Sakura told him. Well, let's go find everyone. Naruto started off as the two fell in step. So what have I missed? Across the village in her office, Tsunade was at her desk with the new bane of her existence, paperwork. She loathed paperwork, and if she had known the job would be like this, she would have told her old teacher to take the damn job back. She didn't care if he was a cripple enjoying his retirement. If not, she would have thrown the office of the Hokage right back at him. You know, even with a genjutsu, if you keep looking like that, you're going to get more wrinkles on your face. Tsunade scowled at that voice and she turned to see Jiraiya sitting in her window. Can't you just walk into my office like a normal person? 2 years and that's the first thing you say to me. His smile faltered. She leaned back in her chair. Well, you caught me at a bad day, so how did things go with Naruto? Things went pretty well. We didn't run into that group thankfully, and despite a little hiccup here and there, I think you'll be pleased by his progress. Good. Tsunade pulled open her drawer. Since if there was ever a time for a drink, now was the time. She pulled out a jar and 2 shot glasses as she poured him a drink. Jiraiya walked from the window and sit across from her. He took the offered drink as they both shared a look and drank it down together. Not bad. I can see why you have this stuff on hand. It's not even my best stuff either, Tsunade told him, relaxing a bit in her chair. So, should I schedule some time for Naruto and his team to hide the training ground? They've been apart for a while and their teamwork will need some dusting off. Plus, I wouldn't mind seeing how they all do together after all this time. Jiraiya thought about it. Give him a day to settle in. He's been so eager to see everyone. Plus, he's got a lot to catch up on as well, I bet. Alright, I can do that. She looked at the pile of papers. Don't suppose you could do something useful and help with all this, can you? She looked up to see him already gone, causing her left eye started twitching. Back with Naruto, he and his friends were catching up on everything that had been going on lately. So everyone's a chunin now? Naruto asked them after hearing that. That's awesome. Well, actually, Neji and Sasuke-kun are both jonins. Sakura told him with a smile. Wait, what? Naruto looked at his dark-haired friend who had a small smirk on his face. That's right, I outrank you now. Sasuke told him as he was enjoying this moment, seeing the frustration on Naruto's face. Damn it, I won't fall behind you for long, Naruto pointed at him. Well, you got a lot of work to catch up to me, he said back, challenging him. Sakura rolled her eyes as she linked her arm with Sasuke's. Come on, he just got back, can we just have our first day together without you two challenging each other? We get enough of that with Lee and Neji. Sasuke grunted, fine. Naruto blinked as he looked at the scene before freezing up and pointed at them. When did this happen? Sakura and Sasuke looked at him and then at each other as they noticed their arms interlinked. Sakura blushed as she looked at Naruto. About a year ago. Naruto got a grin on his face, happy to see them together, and they actually seemed happy as well. Man, I can't wait to see everyone. Naruto looked around. So do you know where they might be? Sakura thought about it. I think Ino and her team should be having a meal at the barbecue place. We can swing by and see if they're there if you want. Hell yeah, let's track them down. Naruto let himself be led by them as they talked on the way. It actually wasn't a long way off, so it didn't take them long, thankfully. Naruto smiled as he saw 3 people he would know anyway walking out. They had changed a bit over the years. Ino had gotten kind of hot from the looks of it, and she wore clothing that seemed to show it. Choji was wearing armor for now. Shikamaru was actually wearing his Chunin vest now. It was odd seeing the school slacker actually look somewhat respectable, even if he did carry himself the same way. Hey guys, Naruto shouted out, waving to them. All 3 looked over and he could see the surprise and happiness suddenly on their faces. Naruto, is that you? Ino asked, looking him over. He wasn't the shrimp anymore. Hell, he was taller than all of them now, it seemed. I almost didn't recognize you without the mask on. Yeah, I think we only saw you once without it, Choji told him before taking him in a bear hug. How have you been? Good. Naruto managed to get out. He hadn't known Choji was this strong before. He signed in relief to get out of that hug. It was nice to see him all the same. Well, it's nice to see you home, Shikamaru told him, hands in his pockets. It's been kind of a drag with you gone. Yeah, well, I'm back now. I heard you guys all made Chunin while I was gone. Congratulations. Naruto threw up his arms, happy for them. Yeah, we got it done at the next exams, Ino told him. Hey, have you seen Hinata yet? No, why? Naruto blinked. Oh, no reason, she grinned, sharing a look with Sakura as both girls shared a knowing look. Man, I can't wait to see her. You guys know where she might be. Naruto looked around. Sasuke was the one that gently took Sakura and inched him a few paces to the left. She was about to ask him what he was doing before a large creature landed in their midst. There was a large thud as there was a huge amount of dust. Sasuke had seen it coming with his eyes. Even without the Sharingan activated, his senses were sharp after all. When the dust cleared, Naruto was face to muzzle with an extremely large animal. Naruto jumped back as it barked at him. Hey, you were right, it was Naruto. Kiba of all people said while riding the huge dog. Kiba. Naruto looked closely. He looked to have ditched the parka-like jacket and was sporting black leather now. He took a closer look at the animal and his eyes widened at the sight of it. Is that a Kamaru? Yeah, guess it has been a long time, Kiba told him with a huge smile. No kidding, he used to ride on your head all the time and now you're riding him. Naruto hadn't known that the little puppy he had known would turn into such a large animal. Hey, wait, where's the rest of your team? Shouldn't be too far, Kiba said, looking around. We weren't too far away when a Kamaru told me he picked up on your scent. I'm already here, a slightly muffled voice called out, making mostly everyone jump in surprise. Naruto looked to see someone their age all covered up in clothing. He couldn't even see the guy's face. He squinted his eyes, not sure who this was, although there was a familiar sensation about him. Do you not recognize your friends? The guy said. Naruto's eyes widened. Shino, is that you? To think you'll recognize everyone else but me. A dark gloom seemed to cover Shino. How the hell was I supposed to realize it was you? Naruto defended himself. You're all covered up. I can barely see your face and your voice is muffled. Naruto-kun. A new voice called to him, a very familiar one that he had dreamed of hearing again. Naruto turned to see her standing there by a fence. She had grown since they had last seen each other. Her hair was longer, but he would know her from anywhere. He smiled brightly at seeing Hinata after all these years. Hinata-chan. He ran over to her and threw his arms around her, hugging her close. Hinata was shocked but eagerly hugged him back. She found that he was so tall now that she could rest her head on his shoulder. She couldn't believe that he was finally back after all this time, but here he was, in her arms, and finally she felt like a piece of her had returned. Naruto couldn't help but breathe in the scent of her. She smelled really nice. He also suddenly noticed that something was pressing against his chest, in fact a pair of somethings. Huh, when did she grow up this big? He thought. He tried not to think about it, but damn, she had grown up in a few places he wasn't expecting. He fought off any more of those thoughts. He could push them for later after all. He pulled back looking at her. You let your hair grow out. Ah, why yes, do you like it? She really hoped he did. Ino and Sakura had convinced her to grow it out over a year ago and she hoped he liked it. He only smiled at her. Yeah, it really suits you. She felt her cheeks heat up but glad he liked it. Huh, what happened to your mask? Naruto frowned as he crossed his arms and pouted. Ero-Senin got it destroyed during training and I couldn't find another one like it since. She smiled as she placed a hand on his cheek. I kind of like seeing your face. Both blushed as Naruto looked away. Well, if she liked it, then maybe he could see about maybe putting off finding a new one. Then an idea hit him. Hey, are you doing anything for the rest of the day? No. She blinked. Meet me at the foot of the monument mountain in a couple of hours, will you? He asked. Oh, okay. Great. See you there. He rushed off, leaving everyone perplexed on what he had planned, but it was soon apparent that Naruto wanted some alone time with her. Ino let out a frustrated cry as everyone suddenly looked at her. This is so unfair. What is? Sakura asked. I'm the only one without a boyfriend now. She whined. That's what got you so annoyed. Shikamaru sighed. You'll never understand a woman's heart. Ino yelled at him. Good, he replied. It's too troublesome to try and figure that out. Later, Naruto threw open the door to his home. Hey, pops, you in? Naruto froze as he walked into the place. As he looked around, there were some new furniture and other new items, although most of the place did stay the same. Did Dad redecorate or something? He muttered, hoping that he didn't change his room while he was gone at least. With a shrug, Naruto walked through the home as he really felt truly home again. Walking into his old room, he saw that nothing looked touched, but it was kept clean. Placing his bag onto the floor, Naruto fell onto his bed and sighed. It just felt so good being home again, but he didn't time to enjoy it. Hinata was waiting for him after all. He found a pair of clothing that wasn't dirty as he quickly ran to the bathroom for a shower. It had been a long trip and he didn't want to smell like dirt and sweat with her. When he got into the bathroom, he paused again. There were a lot more items here. The shower had several bottles labeled conditioner and was that perfume on the shelf near the sink. Something you want to tell me, Dad? He muttered to himself, a little worried that maybe his dad had a lifestyle change or something while he was gone. Was he old enough for a midlife crisis? While Naruto pushed it away and jumped into the shower, he didn't hear the front door open up as someone walked in. Silently, the person made their way deeper into the house and waiting for their opening to attack. Naruto was in just long enough to really get all the grime off and wash his hair a bit before stepping out and wrapping a towel around his waist. Picking up his clothing, he was going to place them all in the hamper he knew was in the hallway before getting dressed in his room. He didn't make it 3 feet from the door when a voice suddenly called out to him from behind. Yo. Naruto jumped up and turned around, making sure that the towel stayed on as he knew that voice as he glared at the grinning face of Anko. Damn it, don't scare me like that. Naruto yelled out. Well, I heard you were back and decided to see if you came home yet. Looks like I was right. Anko laughed, looking him up and down. Damn kid, you grew up, although you're still a little shorter than me, I think. Naruto looked at her and noticed she had about an inch on him still. Yeah, well, I'm still growing. How did you get in anyway? You really think a ninja like me can't get into a simple home? Anko placed a hand on her hip, feeling a bit annoyed at that. So you broke in? Naruto said flatly. Of course not, I used my key. She grinned, pulling out a house key. My dad gave you a key. Anko was enjoying this. She had been seeing how long she could milk it before she told him the bombshell, so a little more playing was in store. Well, of course he did. Oh. Why? What, you don't want me coming over anymore? Anko faked annoyance. And no, nothing like that. Good. There was a pause before Naruto's own annoyance was starting to build, plus he was kind of starting to feel uncomfortable with being in the hall with her in just a towel. So why did Dad give you a key? So I could get in, of course. Anko said in a matter-of-fact tone. Naruto face-palmed with his free hand. Okay, so you got a key, I got to get dressed now. Anko huffed. Apparently the game was about to be over. Oh well, she got in a few mental laughs. Time to drop the bombshell. Well okay then, I won't stop you. Just figured that you wanted to know that I'm living here now. Anko turned to the master bedroom which she and Kakashi shared. Yeah okay, nice seeing you again too. Naruto walked into his room for a split second before jumping out into the hall. What? Anko winced at the volume as she looked over her shoulder. Damn, you're still loud, and yeah, your dad and me moved in about a year ago, so we'll be seeing a lot of each other. She grinned as she waved goodbye to him, going into the bedroom. Naruto stood there for a moment trying to form words and failing. It wasn't like he didn't like the idea, hell he enjoyed the fact that his dad and Anko were dating when he left. He felt good knowing that his dad had someone looking out for him. It was just going to be really weird seeing her here all the time. Then another horrifying thought hit him. I really hope I can't hear them having sex. Naruto gulped as he felt a bit sick at that idea. He was going to have to look up to see if he could find anything on noise-canceling seals or something later. He really didn't want to test out how thick or thin the walls were. Later, Naruto was running through the village as he kept checking the item in his pocket. He had picked it up on the way back home and he didn't want to lose it. He really hoped that he wasn't going to be running late with his meeting with Hinata. He stopped now and again to say hi to those that greeted him. It wasn't many, but he did run into a few familiar faces. He was halfway there when a voice called down at him from above. Yo, Naruto. Ha. Naruto paused as he looked around, and then up in a tree lying on a large branch and holding one of his previous books was Kakashi. Pops. Kakashi chuckled as he closed his book with a snap and jumped down. I figured you might run past here eventually. You did. Kakashi nodded. At this was a major intersection for the village, so given the odds Naruto would have had to come by here at some point. It was a lot better than running around trying to search for him. Then again, he could have gotten his dogs to track him down, but that was a bit overkill. Kakashi looked Naruto over. He had grown a lot in his time away. The young boy was now a young man, although Naruto still wasn't as tall as himself. Welcome home, son. Naruto got a warm smile on his face. Thanks, Dad. Kakashi clapped a hand onto Naruto's shoulder. I'm happy you got back here safe. Thanks, and just wait until you see what I learned. Kakashi chuckled. We can work on that tomorrow. First day back and I want you to rest up and see everyone. Yeah, I already saw mostly everyone, including Auntie Anko, in our home. Naruto told him flatly. Ah, I meant to tell you about that. Kakashi scratched the back of his head. You're not mad or anything, are you? Naruto thought about it and shrugged. No, but a heads up would have been nice, but I'm glad you two are together. Kakashi nodded. Well, I'm sure it will be strange with her there, but she does make me happy. I know something else that will make you happy. Naruto grinned. I left it on the kitchen table when I left. It's an advanced copy of Ero Sennin's new book. Kakashi's single exposed eye widened before clapping both hands onto Naruto's shoulders. You are the best son of all time. Naruto laughed. You're damn right. Well, I got to go. Meeting Hinata-chan and I don't want to be late. Alright, have fun. Kakashi waved as he made his way back home. There was a new book just calling to him. Hinata was waiting at the foot of the path that led to the Hokage monument, not sure why Naruto asked to meet here, but she couldn't care less. She was finally going to see him again, and with just the two of them for the first time in years. She felt her heart race at the thought. She wasn't the little girl she was, but a young woman now, and yet the butterflies in her stomach were still there. Hinata-chan. Hinata turned around and smiled seeing Naruto rushing towards her. He looked freshly dressed too. Hey, I didn't keep you waiting long. Naruto asked as he stopped in front of her. Hinata shook her head. Great, come on. He grabbed her hand as he led her up the stairs. She blushed at the contact but eagerly went with him. They went up the long set of stairs as they went higher and higher. Thankfully both of them were in great shape, so they made it up without too much difficulty. They were breathing a bit harder by the time they got to the top as they felt their leg muscles starting to burn from the effort. Naruto looked out over the entire village as he sighed at the sight. It just felt so great to be back, and here it was like he was being welcomed back by the entire village at once. You know I always liked coming up here, Naruto told her. Hinata nodded, I remember. He grinned at her, yeah, I don't know what it is but it's kind of like my special spot, why I wanted to share it with you. She blushed as she felt like Naruto was giving her a small place for her in a special corner of his life. Oh yeah, he dug into his pocket. I missed a lot of your birthdays and stuff and I got a few things for you while I was gone. Oh, you didn't need to do that, she assured him. I'm just glad to have you back. Yeah, but I really wanted to get you something. He pulled out what it was as she looked at it. It was a light blue hairpin, but what caught her eyes were the two jewels in it. One was a pearl and the other was an orange smooth stone. I kind of got this when we were at a beach area, Naruto explained. The pearl reminded me of the color of your eyes. It's beautiful, she said honestly. Naruto stepped in close as he gently placed it into her hair. She closed her eyes, feeling his hands through her long hair felt nice as she felt it being put into place. She slowly opened her eyes as they locked with his blue ones. They held their eyes as their eyes spoke more than any words could ever do. He realized his hand was still in her hair as he placed it on her cheek. For over 2 years he had waited for this and he didn't want to wait any longer. Hinata felt her face heat up but she didn't fight her feelings. She closed her eyes as Naruto's face drew itself closer. Their lips touched in a tender kiss as 2 years of waiting were finally paid off. They were finally together again and both felt like a missing piece in their lives was finally returned. The end. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.